Well, you're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a bond issue could bring some changes to the Galena School District.
Also, community leaders recognize acts of bravery in the face of a fire that destroyed a nursing home in Yates Center, Kansas.
And we start the day off with a fire warning, but switching over to rain and snow by this afternoon.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney, and it is 7 a.m., March 19th, the last day of winter.
Yes.
I believe you said. I knew that too, but you definitely reminded me. And then tomorrow is the first day of spring, so we're moving through the year
we
already.
Certainly are.
3 months in, that's crazy.
It really is. We'll switch gears on over to community leaders in Yates Center, Kansas, holding a press conference yesterday highlighting the heroic bravery of the nursing home staff and first responders during a massive fire there last Friday.
KOAM's Lonnie Walton sat down with the staff members who were at Yates Center Health and Rehab Facility to share their experience.
I was like, I'm going outside, so I opened the door early, I run outside and I'm like, it's really smoky.
Carly Stinnen and Jocelyn Miller are healthcare workers at Yates Center Health and Rehab. They recount the moments they first saw smoke.
Everybody's taking action and we're like, we have to go. We have to get everybody get together and we gotta run.
See the back, the office people in the back just running to their cars and saying, get out, get out, get out.
And that's exactly what they did, according to Johnny Atkin, Director of Emergency Management for Woodson County. He says it was like the whole town was there to support them.
Mutual aid response came from across the state, with fire crews arriving from as far away as Topeka, Olathe, Overland Park, Johnson County, and Kansas City, Kansas.
And if you want to help, local leader says you can also.
Make out checks payable to Mission Health Communities to P.O. Box 265, Yates Center, Kansas 66783.
Atkins says he is proud of his community.
We are standing here today having prevented an even greater tragedy. I am humbled by the selflessness of those who ran towards the fire, by the outpouring of support from near and far, and by the way this community pulled together in our moment of crisis.
The thought was, get out the door, get out the door. And that's all that kept going through my brain and keeping the people in their chairs and getting them out as safely as possible.
Reporting in Yates Center, Kansas, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Well, the cause of the fire has not been determined. An investigation is underway to see if there was any foul play. Certainly a sad story to see that nursing home just destroyed.
I'm glad everyone is okay and safe, though. That's what matters most, unfortunately. With our winds, I'm sure it wasn't helping the case at all.
No.
But winds continue today, so we are still having that threat, especially fire threat through this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. We've got clear skies, a dry slot of air moving over our area right now, so that red flag warning is in effect until 11 a.m. until moisture returns and we switch over to a little bit more of just a wind threat for the rest of the afternoon. Winds are gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour throughout this morning, continuing, even picking up to 50 miles per hour later on this evening. We've already seen a little bit of that fire weather drop off the map out there in Kansas as the higher moisture moves in, but the rest of us still underway until 11 a.m. Then we switch over to a wind advisory until 10 p.m. You can see where that tan is. That's for all of our counties. And then a high wind warning out there in Elk and Chautauqua County. Now, as we head into the rest of the afternoon, we see this moisture pushing back in. You can see a little bit of snow moving in as well. Rain and snow mix starting as early as noon, but mostly for us getting into our area by 2 p.m. And then by 5 to 7 p.m. are heavier chances of rain along with those heavy snow chances as well. Now, snow is not going to be a big threat because temperatures, as you can see, we're starting off the morning in the low 60s and only getting down to low 50s by noon, right when the rain starts. By the time the snow starts to move in, we're still seeing those strong wind gusts and those temperatures are still going to be above freezing. So we have these chances for some minor accumulations, especially on the Missouri-Arkansas side, but the likelihood it'll stick is slim. But I'm going to have a full forecast coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon, Lindsay. Thanks. Local authorities request a special agent to investigate a fire that destroyed Columbus House yesterday morning. The home on Parmenter Avenue in Columbus was engulfed in flames when fire crews arrived around 3:40 yesterday morning. And the fire's glow was seen from blocks away, and crews immediately focused on saving the neighboring home as intense winds pushed the fire into it. The image was taken from outside the neighboring house. The house where the fire began is destroyed, but the neighbor's house was saved, and thankfully no one was hurt.
It turns out it was actually an officer named Officer Hampton. She saved our lives. She went through literal flames to get us to get to the door and start knocking on it. I was the first one to get up, get around. I got to the door, saw the fire, and ran back to notify my family, and we left through the back door, so yeah.
Neighbors say the home that burned had just sold, and Columbus Fire and Rescue expressed thanks for all the agencies who assisted. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. The Galena, Kansas School District hopes to make some improvements with a $7.5 million bond issue on next month's ballot. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
There are several classrooms in Liberty. When it rains, it does leak through the windows, so new windows would be very beneficial.
Deanne Whited is the librarian with the City of Galena. She used to be the librarian at Liberty Elementary, and she says she's seen firsthand that Galena School District could benefit from a few upgrades, particularly to the gym at Liberty Elementary.
The number one would be the gym. The students go there in the mornings before school starts. Then if the weather is bad, they're in there for recess. The flooring is very uneven. There's mold on the walls. The bleachers definitely need improvement.
If the $7.5 million bond issue on next month's ballot is approved, Liberty Elementary's gym will receive the upgrade that Whited says is much needed. If the bond is approved, the gym will be painted. It'll also get new equipment like scoreboards. They'll also fix the water infiltration issue, and HVAC system improvements will be made.
Air conditioning is very unreliable. It works some days it does not.
If approved, the funding would also go towards building a covered walkway between Liberty Elementary and the high school for safety and to protect teachers and students from weather conditions.
Would be a big improvement. The students walk across for special classes to go to lunch, and if it's raining, they get drenched.
The bond would also go towards fixing Liberty Elementary's roof and getting an elevator replacement. Whited says the elevator replacement is crucial for students with a disability.
For our handicapped students, since that is the only way that they can get downstairs if they take art, we only have one art teacher and she is located downstairs in the elementary, so that is their one access to get to that class.
Some of the funding would also go towards new early childhood spaces at Spring Grove, and the Gene Russell building would be remodeled for new special education spaces. These upgrades would not increase the mill levy. Reporting in Galena, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, to learn more, you can visit our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up next, we'll hear about PSU's Nature Reach program and how it benefits our area. And later, we'll hear how one New York Irish bar introduces its patrons to the Irish culture. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Mulberry, Kansas. have Delia Lister from Pittsburgh State University's Nature Reach program, and she's here this morning to share some history about the initiative of the program and its mission in our area. She brought a friend with her as well. Welcome to you. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so Nature Reach has been around since 1985, believe it or not, and we're out of the biology department, and we do lots of things. Sort of the bread and butter of our program is to go to schools with live animals, just like the one we have here, and I'll talk about him in a little bit. And then we also train teachers and work with teachers, help them become better science educators. And we also work with college students, and so college students learn how to take care of all the animals, and a lot of the students that work at Nature Reach go on to become veterinarians or work at nature centers and zoos and aquariums. And the other thing we do are summer camps, and we have some summer camps coming up. But first I will talk about our friend here. This is a barred tiger salamander. And they're native to Kansas. They're actually the Kansas state amphibian. And back in 1994, a group of elementary students in Wichita petitioned the state to make this the Kansas state amphibian. And of course, amphibians, you might be more familiar with frogs and toads. Those are amphibians. But these are amazing little guys. They have warning colors to ward off predators, and they don't have a hard shell like a turtle. They're not fast like a cheetah, so they have to do something. and you're rarely going to see them, even though they're found throughout the state, because they burrow and they spend most of the time underground.
Very cool to see this little guy. So talk to me a little bit more about the programs that you do offer tours as well. Just kind of break that all down for me.
Yeah, so we can do on-campus tours, so people can come and bring their classroom. We can only have about 30 kids. We can also come to you and to your classroom. We travel about up to 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. And we can do multiple programs in a day if that's helpful. And so, and we can really tailor it to however teachers want. If they're studying something specific, then I can work with the teacher and help them bring something awesome into their classroom.
Great. Now, through your experience and just going into these classrooms and teaching these students, why do you think it's so important for students to learn about nature in Southeast Kansas?
Yeah, well, David Sobel said that we have to first teach kids to love animals and to love nature before we ask them to save it. And so if we can teach kids to take care of the environment and learn that, a salamander is not a gross thing, it's something that's a super cool thing, it's super cute, then all the better.
Great, fantastic. And if teachers or folks at home want to either donate or find more information about the program, where can they do so?
Yep, they can go to our website, pittstate.edu. I think it's /biology/nature reach, but you can also just Google us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, we can start to see a few clouds pushing in, but you see the camera shaking. We're still seeing those winds gusting now 35 to 45 miles per hour. That's going to continue. You can see those winds shifting out of the west as well. So our fire weather has dropped off a little bit out in Kansas, but Missouri and Oklahoma and even a few counties in Kansas still under that fire weather warning until 11 a.m. And then we switch over to a wind advisory for most of us until 11 p.m. and then even a high wind warning out in Kansas for a couple of counties until 7 p.m. Now we're in the middle of this dry slot of air. You can see where our dry front pushed through our dry line, dry slot of air, and then more moisture returns. We can see those clouds pushing in, along with rain showers and snowfall as well later on this afternoon. By about 10:30, we're dealing with mostly overcast skies. Showers start to push in by noon and into the Kansas side, and then by 2 p.m., all of us seeing some of those rain showers. Now, current conditions, we're seeing those clouds starting to push in to our west. Winds are gusting 35 again to about 40-45 miles per hour. And then temperatures are quickly dropping down into the mid 60s, where we're getting down to lower 60s in the next hour to start off our morning. Still mostly sunny and then windy, but later on this afternoon, those temperatures are continuing to drop down to mid to lower 40s. Rain showers pick back up again around 2 p.m. for most of us, but let's take a look at what else we can expect. Now, by 8:30, 59 degrees in Joplin, 50 in Parsons. We have those clouds pushing in. Rain on the Kansas side by 12 to 1 p.m. And then all of us kind of extends out to the rest of us, getting up to 3 p.m. widespread rain showers. Now you can see up in the Yates Center, temperatures are in the mid-30s, so we're still above freezing out there, but snow's starting to push in. Now the rest of us getting into the lower 40s by 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. when the snow starts to take over a little bit in some of those rain showers. Now it's only going to be for mostly our northern counties. That's going to be north of Pittsburgh, north of Parsons, and then out in southwestern Missouri that we're going to see any snowfall. This is about 8 p.m. now. Heavier snowfall just south of Joplin out near Monette as well. That's going to push out all of the rain and snowfall pushing out by midnight tonight, and then the clouds clear as temperatures continue to drop. Now, we're not getting below freezing until early Thursday morning when all the snow's cleared out. So likelihood that any of this actually sticks onto any of the roads or just surfaces in general is pretty slim. We could get a light dusting, especially on the Missouri side on some grassy surfaces, but that's pretty unlikely just because we have seen these warmer temperatures. Now, we do have a little bit of a dip there on Thursday down to the mid-50s, but we're back into the 60s by Friday and Saturday, plus winds return on Friday as well ahead of a dry front with winds gusting 50 to 55 miles per hour. Now, we also see thunderstorms return on Saturday night, late night thunderstorms, and then kind of lingering until Sunday morning by 10 a.m. before clearing out. Temperatures stick around in the mid to lower 60s to start off for a week, then switch over to 70s and even 80s as we head into next weekend. Now, that's a look to forecast. We'll be right back. Well, you can't celebrate St. Patrick's Day without a little Irish green and the sounds of traditional Irish music.
Now, many Irish bars across the country host traditional folk music sessions when anyone can join in the music. Bradley Blackburn has more.
At Paddy Riley's Music Bar in New York City, the sounds and sights of Irish music boom, not just on St. Patrick's Day, but year-round. And at least once a week at a session, anyone who wants can play or dance.
The idea is that we welcome all musicians to come in. If you're really good, we'll ask you to do a solo. If you're not that good, we'll keep you well away from microphone, but we won't discourage you.
Niall O'Leary performs and helps organize the session.
In Irish, it should be session. It's a very similar word.
One of dozens that happen weekly across New York. He's an architect and dance instructor who was raised in Ireland with music.
You'd increase your repertoire of tunes by just going to sessions and sitting in the back and playing along.
Some say sessions have their roots in Ireland's kitchens, back when neighbors would get together to play folk music. After World War II, the idea caught on in bars and pubs.
It spread through the years and across the globe.
I met with Captain Farrell and...
But Erica Martinez discovered it just around the corner. She lives near this bar, enjoyed the sessions, and was swept up, deciding to learn Irish dancing and join in.
One day I showed up, and I've been coming ever since.
For bar owner Desmond Murray, it's a business boost and a tradition that brings people together.
A lot of regulars, a lot of tourists. It's great to see people coming from all over, because you never know who you could meet.
On St. Patrick's Day, they say everyone's Irish.
We just do it because we love it.
And at a session, everyone is welcome.
Well, by some estimates, St. Patrick's Day is the highest grossing day of the year for bars and pubs across the country,
yes.
Which not too surprising, I would say.
No, not at all. Well, very cool. And coming up, 2 astronauts who had an unexpectedly longer trip to the International Space Station have finally made their way back to Earth. We'll have the latest from Cape Canaveral.
And we also have some clouds moving in, gusty winds continue, and a little rain and snow mix later on this afternoon.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, some good news for a Joplin elementary school. After 2 failed attempts, the Cecil Floyd Elementary School passed its inspection from the health department. Now, a week ago, we told you about concerns health inspectors had with the kitchen area of the school. Now, at the time, they cited contamination from mice. Yesterday's evaluation was part of a routine revisit. And an overturned cement mixer blocked a road in Jasper County for more than 3 hours yesterday morning. It happened at around 7:15 on North Schifferdecker Avenue. The driver was transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, a nonprofit in southwest Missouri put a winning bidder behind the driver's seat. Rafa House in Joplin supports survivors of trafficking and sexual abuse, and much of that support comes through raising funds. Now, yesterday, the nonprofit auctioned off a modified and remodeled 1972 Ford Gran Torino Sport named Roxanne to go to that goal. The muscle car was originally a passion project, but the owner felt Rafa House would benefit more from it.
So we have this amazing partner in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, and he had this passion project, this 1972 Gran Torino Sport that several years ago he just decided really belonged to the children of Rafa International. And so this has been a labor of love for him over many years.
Rafa International started in Cambodia back in 2003, and the Rafa Hope and Health Center in Joplin opened in 2020. Well, the Inspire Health Foundation, Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas, and Greenbush are offering a medical spring break camp this week at the John Ferrolo Education Center on Pittsburgh's North Campus. Now, camp sessions are tailored by age. Kindergarten through 2nd grade was yesterday, 3rd through 5th is today, and 6th through 8th is tomorrow, running from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now let's head over to Lindsay for a quick look at your forecast.
Well, we've got clear skies through this morning, but clouds are starting to push in, and those winds are still going to be gusting. We're seeing them shift out of the west, gusting 35 to 45 miles per hour. That's going to continue throughout the rest of the afternoon. However, we're in the middle of a dry slot, so we have our fire weather warning until 11 a.m. for counties out in Missouri and Oklahoma, and a few along the Kansas and Missouri border. But after 11 a.m., when that expires, we switch over to a wind advisory until 10 p.m. for all of our counties, and then a high wind warning out towards the west, towards Wichita. Now that's going to continue again until later on this evening, as those winds are still going to be gusting up to 45 miles per hour. There's our little dry slot, but you can see where the clouds return. That's our moisture moving back into the area, and then some rain showers popping up along there around 12 to 2 p.m. and then snow actually moving in right behind that. Snow is not going to be a huge threat because we are seeing these warm temperatures, but you can see where our rain starts around 12 to 1 p.m. and then clears out just before midnight. But like I said, we're starting off our day pretty warm, low 60s, and then temperatures falling throughout the day, getting down into the low 40s by the time the snow starts to move in. Winds clear out by early Thursday morning. Now, the snow is not going to be a big threat, like I said. A light dusting if anything sticks to the surface, but the likelihood is slim. I'm going to have a full forecast coming up.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get those severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, of course, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams are back on solid ground for the first time in months. Now, the pair returning to Earth after what was supposed to be a brief mission turned into an extended layover on the International Space Station. Fox News senior correspondent Jonathan Seary reports from Cape Canaveral.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
The SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule splashing down Tuesday evening off Florida's Gulf Coast. Dolphins circling the return capsule as it was lifted onto a recovery ship. Astronauts Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore exiting the spacecraft with smiles while taking in the fresh air for the first time in more than 9 months. Crews taking extra care of the astronauts as they readjust to Earth's gravity.
Their muscles weren't working as hard, their heart wasn't working as hard, and so there's
a muscular and cardiovascular kind of reconditioning that has to happen.
What was supposed to be an 8-day mission for the two astronauts last June instead evolved into a 286-day stay aboard the ISS after their Boeing Starliner capsule encountered issues that NASA determined made it too risky for them to return to Earth. Butch and Sonny made the most of their time in orbit, conducting research and performing critical maintenance on the space station, even doing a spacewalk together in January. During their time in space, they traveled more than 121 million miles and circled the Earth more than 4,500 times. Their long-awaited return capping off a saga that captivated the country.
This has been 9 months in the making, and I couldn't be prouder of our team's versatility, our team's ability to adapt, and really build for the future of human spaceflight.
The astronauts will next head to the Johnson Space Center in Houston to undergo some medical testing and reunite with their families. At Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Tesla is facing severe backlash over the actions of Elon Musk. We'll have the latest in Consumer Watch. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Mulberry, Kansas. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, Google has made its biggest ever acquisition. Now, the tech giant just announced a deal to buy cybersecurity from Wiz for $32 billion. Now, privately held Wiz makes cybersecurity software for cloud computing. The New York-based company has enjoyed explosive growth since launching just 5 years ago. The Google Wiz deal still is subject to regulatory approval, and the wait at your local Social Security office could get longer due to efforts to combat fraud. Now, the Social Security Administration recently announced a change for people looking to file benefit applications who cannot prove their identities online. They must now visit a field office to complete the claim in person. The new anti-fraud rule comes at a time when the agency is aiming to cut around 7,000 employees from its workforce and close some offices. And Dollar General is planning to close nearly 100 stores across the nation in the first quarter of this year. Now, in addition to closing 96 Dollar General stores, the company will also shutter 54 of its Pop Shelf stores. Now, the company will also convert 6 Pop Shelf stores to Dollar General locations. According to Dollar General's website, it runs more than 20,000 Dollar General, DG Market, DGX, and Pop Shelf stores in 48 states. Well, from protests to vandalism to plunging stocks, Elon Musk's prized company Tesla is facing some backlash from people dissatisfied with the way he is running the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency. Fox's Jamie Chamber has more.
The weekend protests at the Tesla dealership stretched down Encinitas Boulevard with demonstrators carrying signs for the end to DOGE, the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk. Musk has been slashing government jobs, and the backlash to Musk's prize company, Tesla, has been swift.
Lost half of its value since its peak.
Professor Alan Jin says no car company has seen such a dramatic swing in such a short time.
A lot of people don't like Elon Musk activities, and as a result, Tesla sales have fallen all over the world.
Crime against Teslas have also jumped, with the Encinitas dealership hit with a wave of graffiti of swastikas and curse words on their cars and buildings. The Sheriff's Department has launched an investigation into the graffiti and are urging people to contact Crime Stoppers with any tips on the vandals. Tesla owners who love their cars say they are in a tough spot.
Solar powered, we thought we were doing a good thing, and now regret it, but embarrassed, don't know what to do.
The Encinitas Tesla dealership declined to comment on the vandalism. Professor Jin says Tesla is facing headwinds from their early supporters.
People most likely to buy Teslas are liberals.
Best cars ever driven. We were going to buy another one. We will not, so we're going to look into something else.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Well, taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, we still have the clear skies, but clouds are starting to push in, and we're seeing those winds still gusting 40 to 45 miles per hour out in especially the Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas side, but out in Kansas, dying down winds to 30, 35 miles per hour. Now we're still in that dry slot for another couple of hours there, so we have that red flag warning until 11 a.m. for especially out in Missouri and Oklahoma. Then we switch over to a bit of just winds dealing with for the rest of the day. So we've got a wind advisory for most of us until 11 p.m. and then closer to the Wichita area, high wind warning until 7 p.m. Now that's going to be due to our cold front that's going to be moving in. You can see where the clouds are starting to pick back up, moisture moves in, and then snow actually moving into the area as well. Now first we're seeing some scattered rain shower chances on the Kansas side as early as 10 a.m. but mostly holding off until about noon on the Kansas side, and then for the rest of us seeing those scattered shower chances kind of extend by 2 p.m. Now current conditions, it's really beautiful out there. Temperatures are in the mid 60s. It's sunny, looking great. We still have those winds gusting. You can see that camera shaking. The winds are still gusting 35 to 45 miles per hour throughout the area. Temperatures are going to continue to fall. We're getting down to low 60s by about 8 a.m. So another hour or so. And then we have temperatures getting down into the mid 40s by 3 p.m. So we are seeing these temperatures continue to drop, just plummet throughout the day. But even by the time the rain and snow starts, we're still above freezing. So you can see 8:30, we're down in the upper 50s, low 60s. Rain showers starting to push in by 12:30 and extending for all of us by about 3 p.m. Then you can see out in Yates Center, temperatures are falling down into the 30s, and we have that snow pushing in. Now it's only hitting most of our northern counties, Parsons, north of Pittsburgh, Iola, Fort Scott area, Nevada. And then over to our Missouri and Arkansas side, where we could see some heavier snow flurries, but temperatures, as you see, are still above freezing. 38 in Joplin, this by 8 p.m., 36 in Nevada, 34 in Yates Center. Staying above freezing for the rest of the evening and even into tomorrow as well, with our temperatures falling down below freezing by 8 a.m. tomorrow. So we don't see the chance for road temperatures to cool down enough, or even just surfaces in general to be cold enough to see the snow stick. But could on grassy surfaces, we could see a light dusting, especially on the Missouri side and then closer to the Springfield area. We have a nice dip in temperatures on Thursday, getting into the mid 50s for the high. But we're back into the 60s, upper 60s by Friday and Saturday. Now, winds also return on Friday, gusting 50 to 55 miles per hour through the morning and even into the afternoon. And then a dry front moves through, so we're not expecting any rain on Friday. However, on Saturday, our next chance of thunderstorms is going to be late Saturday night after about 10 to 11 p.m. overnight, and then lingering through Sunday morning. But it doesn't really drop temperatures too much, only to the lower 60s. And we're back into the 60s and even 70s by next weekend. So we've got a decent looking forecast, a little windy, but overall not too bad after we get through our little snow chances today. That's Look at Your Forecast. We'll be right back.
Well, former reality TV star Jesse Holmes has won this year's Iditarod sled dog race.
Jordan Rodenberger reports on the historic moment in Iditarod 53.
Gentlemen, let's make some noise. Let's see if Jesse can hear you.
Jesse Holmes saw his dream unfolding in front of him on the front street of Nome, Alaska. Winning his first career Iditarod sled dog race Friday morning.
Let him hear it, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you! Led under the burled arch by his four-legged superstars.
I'm really proud of these dogs. I love them, and they did it. They deserve all the credit.
Joining an elite class of mushers to win the last great race on Earth.
All the great, legends before me looking down on me and telling me I could do it. And I just wanted to join that club with them, and I've wanted that for a long time. And it's just, it's unreal.
Soaking in the moment and celebrating with his fans.
I'm beyond grateful for all the support
from all the Alaskans and all the people around the world following me from the show, you know, and when it's hard and tough out there, I just think about, you know, all these people that are so excited and pulling for me.
Because Holmes has learned to take nothing for granted.
My life hasn't been a dream run, you know, like I can think of times whenever I was a young man and I contemplated suicide even, you know, like, and I was a lost individual, and, you know, and through great mentors in my life and my love for animals, you know, like I've been able to build a life, and, you know, I just want to be able to share that with people. I want people to be able to feel the joy that I can feel right now, you know, like if I could do anything in this world, it would be to be able to give all of you some of this joy that I feel.
Living a dream he never wants to wake up from.
No, I'm not, you know, like I have nothing to stop smiling about, you know, I have everything going for me, and, you know, I should never feel a down moment in my life. If I died tomorrow, I'd just die the happiest man. And even if I hadn't won this race and I had just finished in third again, you know, as much as I didn't want to finish in third again, you know, like we're so blessed and lucky to be able to do this and pursue our passion and make it our lifestyle.
Well, Holmes raced more than 1,100 miles and won with a finishing time of 10 days, 14 hours, 55 minutes, and 44 seconds.
That is
How about
so
that?
impressive.
Right.
1,100 miles,
What a
you said?
feat, yes.
Wow, what a feat. That's all there is. What a feat.
Congrats to those guys. Great to see.
Definitely. Well, it's looking pretty good outside today. We've got a nice weather starting off. But we switch over to colder temperatures when you leave the house. Then we have a little rain and snow mix moving in later this afternoon. So it's the last day of spring before last day of winter before our first day of spring tomorrow, which it's going out with a bang. You know, we're ending the last day of winter with some snow and then starting our first day of spring with sunny skies.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Local authorities request a special agent to investigate a fire that destroyed a Columbus house yesterday morning. Crews immediately focused on saving the neighboring home as intense winds pushed the fire into it. The house where the fire began is destroyed, but the neighbor's house was saved, and thankfully no one was hurt. And the Woodson County Director of Emergency Management expressed his gratitude to the community and first responders after Friday's fire, which destroyed the Yates Center Health and Rehab Nursing Home. Johnny Atkin went on to say all residents of the community are safe, and Yates Center is working to rebuild what was lost. And the Galena School District hopes to make some improvements to their schools with a $7.5 million bond issue on next month's ballot. The funds will help numerous projects toward Liberty Elementary, Spring Grove, and the Gene Russell Building. These upgrades would not increase the mill levy.
All right, we've got temperatures starting off in the 60s to upper 50s, but plummeting throughout the day, getting down to low 40s by the time the rain and even the snow starts to move in. We also have that wind threat with winds gusting up to 45-50 miles per hour throughout the rest of the day. Wind warning remains in place until 11 p.m. tonight. Now everything clears out by about midnight. Not expecting any of the snow to stick because these temperatures are too warm. Now tomorrow we have a little bit of a dip in temperatures, mid-50s, but sunny skies return, and then the winds come back around on Friday, gusting up to 55 miles per hour with thunderstorms on Saturday. Got an eventful couple of days coming up.
A sunny day to start off spring. That looks pretty good. And spring wildflowers will bloom soon. And the Missouri Department of Conservation wants to help you recognize and appreciate some of that beauty that will surround us. Now, the Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center yesterday hosted its Colors of Spring program. Participants got the chance to make watercolor prints of native wildflowers.
They also learned about some of the common flowers in Southwest Missouri and how they benefit the environment.
How about that? Very fun.
You know, I came back into town and saw a little yellow daffodil growing in my yard. Just one.
Oh, how fun.
But happy to see it. I hope my dogs don't tear it up, but definitely.
Maybe a little bit more on the way.
Well, thanks so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.